This movie doesn't deserve an introduction. This movie is pure garbage. Do not go see it. Do not think about it. Continue watching our video, of course, but do not give this movie time of day. Please do not waste your money on this. This was one of the worst films I've ever seen. Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, I'm joined by Tyler, and we are here to review Transformers: The Last Knight, and hopefully the last of this garbage franchise directed by Michael Bay. So Tyler, let's talk about this movie. Let's go through it. Let's discuss what we mainly didn't like, and maybe the 30 seconds that we did, and let's begin.
Oh yeah, they absolutely don't take the wife, the girlfriend, or both, or the kids. Don't even go yourself. And it's almost don't even download it, or don't even go on the websites that you can watch movies for free. Don't even do that. Save yourself the pain, and just save yourself the almost like 5 hours. Yeah, the trailers in front were better, and I actually hated most of the trailers. But they were better than the movie. It's really hard to explain it because, like you said earlier, like I did actually think that there was a chance that this would be at least as good as like Transformers 3, which I actually think that out of the 5 movies, I think one I would say is, I don't know if I'd say really good or very good, but it's better than just good. 2 I thought was kind of bad. Or not bad. 3 I actually thought was a little bit better than 2. And just like for me. 4, I mean, when you and I watched it, we just tore it up literally as we were watching the movie. And then the funny thing is it doesn't even matter because like we don't even remember really what happened in 4, but because like it's not because we were talking, it's because nothing happened in 4. And like the total direction that they took with 4, I hated. And unfortunately it continued with 5. But some of what they showed in 5, like it was a super long movie, and you're right, like it felt like a 5 hour, like it literally felt like 5 hours long, because by the time you actually learn the main plot, like I'm not even kidding you, like this is a true fact. By the time you learn what the main plot of the movie is, It was 1 hour in, like almost 1 hour even, because my girlfriend said it's only been 1 hour. And it was the scene where I don't even remember his name, the old man played by Anthony Hopkins is like telling Cade and what's her name? I just saw this last night. I can't even remember anything. Sure. I think it was something with a V. Yeah, I can't remember, but he was telling them, like, here's what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. He was saying, like, you're the last knight, you've been chosen, you're a descendant of Merlin. Oh, shoot, was I supposed to spoil anything?
I don't care.
Oh, okay, I don't care either. Because honestly, none of you should be watching it anyway, so. But yeah, so it literally was an hour in. And then when you look at the first hour, there's literally there's no point in them showing you, like what they could have showed literally was the scene when Cade comes in, saves the little girl right after whatever that Transformer that we saw in the trailer that some kids thought was Bumblebee, and he like dies. That whole scene, like where he kind of like rescues them, it should have just been him and B like trying to like basically rescue like Autobots to bring them into the hideout, and it should have just been that. And unfortunately he was too late. Bumblebee takes out the things, blah blah blah. He finds that knight in the ship, which that didn't even make sense because that was like an ancient one that was already on Earth. So why he was on the ship, and like how did he crash? And it made like he crashed like from Chicago, but that was like 10 years ago. So like none of it even made sense. But like if they would have just did that part, like Cade, basically all Cade is doing, and Bumblebee and the other Autobots, they're basically just trying to find almost like Autobot like refugees. Like that, and that would have only been like a 3-4 minute scene, maybe 5 minutes. Like you don't even have to have the TRF. Well, maybe you can have the TRF just to introduce them, interfere, but then B takes them out. It could have been very similar, but cut out like the little girl, those stupid young kids that had no point, like all of that stuff. And they were terrible actors, the little kid.
Oh, I completely forgot about those young kids, which also was like we were talking about cringeworthy moments yesterday. And those kids, those were bad.
Yeah, like the one kid, kept like scratching his chin. He was like doing like rubbing his chin. I'm like, why is the fat kid rubbing his chin like in every scene? Does he have like a rash? Like what? I don't understand. But yeah, like if that was all gone and that was how you introduce Cade, like here's what he's doing, that would have been a lot better. And then like kind of have him meet up with, the old guy and learn all that stuff. Like if they would have cut literally the first hour out and shortened it so it made like some sense, it still wouldn't have been a good movie. It would have been close to like a good movie. No, it would have been closer to a good movie if they would have took out the entire first hour and just shortened that part that I just said. Then it would still be like a 5 or a 4.5, but right now it's like a 2. So if they would have just did that, I just don't understand like why did they think basically what they showed us is like here's what the life of Cade is, and here's what like the Autobots have been reduced to. They all live in a junkyard. They kind of like fool around, like there's no leader, so they kind of fight over like who's in charge. Like here's the everyday life. I don't give a shit about the everyday life. Like you guys ruined 4, and quite honestly, you ruined like 2 was terrible, really. 3 was pretty good, but just good, really, for me. Like you already messed up what should be an amazing franchise that like I keep saying to you, like this whole franchise should be at Fast and Furious level right now. Like they should have got rid of Michael Bay a long time ago, and he's the main problem. Actually, he is 100% of the problem. Because I don't know how you take Transformers, which is, I mean, think about it, the robots that turn into cars, and so that means 2 things, and then the whole military aspect, which that's also cool to watch, which was really cool in 1, less cool in 2, and like became less cool as the movies went. Like this one, the military was like just stupid. Like it didn't even make sense. But like just putting those together like totally is almost Fast and Furious except for the robot part. And like just reduce the roles of the humans and make the robots the main characters. And you got some like chase, like obviously they're after something, or the Decepticons are after something, and Autobots want to protect Earth or whatever. It doesn't even matter. And then like because there's always a main center plot. Then you'd have chase scenes, but like during the chase scenes, like to avoid certain things, or maybe like they start to transform and like 2 of them are fighting here, and then one gets kicked and then it turns into a car and then they keep chasing. Like it would be actually a really good movie. Like I don't understand why it's so hard for them to make it. I mean, it's like I said, it's robots, car chases, and military. How do you mess that up? Yet they do every time, worse and worse. It's like an easy formula.
So let's talk about what they did do in this movie that we thought was bad. So personally for me, and like we talked about, this movie, in my opinion, is the worst of the 5. I think this movie is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It's a disgrace of a AAA blockbuster movie because it seems as if this movie in particular, they didn't even know how to make a film. We were talking about the aspect ratio. The ratios made absolutely... They went to the shortened screen to the big screen, to short, big, short. There was no cohesiveness of how they were doing it whatsoever. It actually hurt, like because it looked like it had no... And in my opinion, seeing all those scenes, and then like I told you, seeing those scenes that was like the 10-second, you know how they always have like those bonus shots where it's just like a piece of the environment, like something going on just to get to the next scene? There were so many of those, and all of their aspect ratios were all over the place. It's as if they didn't know where to put them all. That's where I got it. I felt like this movie just wasn't put together at all, and at least in 4, I felt like that they had a movie put together. And this one, it didn't even seem like that. And like I told you, they had 6 months of editing. That could be the problem, is that they cut themselves short. So I didn't like that. Main characters. Mark Wahlberg, he was fine, actually. I didn't mind him. Optimus was cool. Glad we got to see him for 7 minutes. Bumblebee had some cool scenes. Glad we got to see him for 7 minutes. They forgot Megatron existed for large periods of time. They also made him the weakest character that they possibly could. He's supposed to be this big force, the basic main bad guy that you can recognize because he's taller and he has like he just looks different than the rest of them, so you're supposed to recognize him. They made him a complete wuss. We talked about how he basically got handed to him versus anybody he ever fought. You had Vanessa get introduced about 45 minutes in, then she didn't come back in until another 45 minutes in. You had the little girl, who I don't even remember her name. She was in the first half of the movie, did absolutely nothing. They tried to build a relationship. Even if that relationship was okay, they tried to build it, and then they didn't forget, but they left her, which is, in my opinion, forgot about, for literally the entire second half. Then they had to cheaply bring her back to advance the plot in some way towards the end. So, forgotten characters, underused characters, overused characters. They had the comedy of this movie was disgustingly terrible. Almost nothing was funny. It was misplaced. They even made the scene, like I told you, they made a whole scene with the butler ruining the atmosphere a joke, when in reality it was actually frustrating because he did ruin it. Like, it was annoying. I want Anthony Hopkins to just keep talking so we could learn about this stuff. But they literally stopped him, I think, 4 or 3 times to make a joke. And then he had to make jokes. Like, they tried to make him a funny character, which he somewhat succeeded, probably because he's just a good actor. But, like, everything in this movie, the action scenes didn't get me. Even the ending was confusing. I felt like it was kind of rushed. I think that's the word that we didn't even talk about yesterday. That's how I'd actually talk about the ending. It's the last 30 minutes. Optimus is back for 5 of them, and it just felt rushed, and still nothing really worked for me at all. It ended. There's gonna be a 6. Fantastic. My theater was packed. Was your theater packed, Tyler?
No, it was not packed. There was probably like 20 people. Well, did you see today? It is the lowest opening that Transformers has ever had.
Oh, good. Good. Hopefully nobody sees it. I mean, they gotta understand, like you said, like, this is unacceptable. This is a movie franchise that should be good, but they focus on the humans, they focus on comedy, they focus on awful storytelling. There's no action, and when there is, it's garbage. The villains are weak. They tried to make Optimus the villain for 2 minutes in the scenes we saw him as a villain.
He literally... The best part was that was the entire plot point that they show in like the commercials and the TV spots, and like he literally was not in the movie. Like, he turns bad in the beginning of the movie. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's like within the first 20 minutes he gets turned, and we don't even see him until the last 45 minutes, and we only see him like. So we see him, he's introduced, like he kills 2 knights or whatever. He leaves, and then Marky Mark's like, B, you gotta stop him. You gotta be that warrior that we never knew that you were, but now it turns out that you were in World War II again. And so then, like, they fight, and then like Bumblebee talks. He's like, Optimus, you are my best friend. I will lay down my life for you. And I don't even get like what that meant. Like, he's about to kill you. What do you mean lay down your life? He's literally about to kill you. And then like Optimus snaps out of like the mind control, and he's like, my friend Bumblebee, I have your voice. I haven't heard your voice in years. You've broken me from this curse or whatever. He doesn't say that part, but he says the rest. And it's like Bumblebee's fucking voice is what breaks the creator of Transformers' possession of Optimus Prime. Bumblebee's voice. What? And then Optimus is gone until like then all this stuff's happening, and just like every movie, Optimus is never there. And it's like, what is he doing? Is he like, I don't even know, like humping like a garbage can? Like, I don't know what he's doing. Like, where is he? What is he doing every time? Like, he's got to take a piss break? Like, I don't get it. Every movie. And the best part is, in this movie, Cade is like, Marky Mark's character is like, he's like, where's B? And then the military dude from 1 through 3, I couldn't even say it. He was like, he never made it. And it's like, well, no shit. I mean, he doesn't make it in any movie. He never makes it to the end. He never makes it to the final battle until like they need him like absolutely. And then all of a sudden he shows up on a dragon. And it's like, what was he doing? I mean, what? And then he fights, and then he cuts up he literally, every scene that we saw in the commercials and the TV spots of Optimus Prime, those are the only scenes that Optimus Prime is in. That's the best part. He's literally he's not even in it 7 minutes. He's in it for like 3 minutes, maybe. He literally has like 5 lines. Superman was in Batman vs Superman more than Optimus Prime was in Transformers. And Superman was in it for like 11 minutes, and it was like a 3-hour movie. And again, what you were saying and what I was saying, like, it's unacceptable that they don't. These movies should be good, like, or really good at this point. Like, they should understand how to do it. I just don't understand why they choose to not have Optimus Prime in the movies. Like, he was in 1 quite a bit. Like, 2 it was less, 3 it was even less, 4 it was even more or less, 5 it was like a cameo. Stan Lee has more screen time in the Marvel movies. So I'm confused. Like, why do they insist on not using the fucking main character? It's called Transformers, not humans bickering and whatever featuring robots. Well, I just don't get it. I just don't get... Like, even Bumblebee wasn't even in this movie that much. He was, like, there sometimes, but, like, didn't have any part. He's, like, just hanging on to a sub. He's just hanging on. It's like, what the fuck is he even there for?
Like I said, when he brought him to... If he didn't bring him with him when they went to the mansion, that he wouldn't have been in... He would have been in just as much as Optimus. Because if they didn't bring him for that scene, he's not in the movie. Yeah, it's... So what do you think of... So, obviously, Transformers underused. What did you think of the plot itself and how they used some of the human characters?
Well, the plot, again, we didn't find out until an hour in, and then it took them almost another hour to finally get to it. So, a lot of the plot... See, there was like 3 different plots going on at once, and they handled all of them pretty bad. So when towards the beginning again, like here's the everyday life of the Autobots and blah blah blah, and here's the TRF. They're hunting down Transformers, and Transformers are illegal on Earth. Illegal. That doesn't even make sense. They're banned, not illegal. But anyways, so then Lennox, that's his name. Lennox from Transformers 1 through 3 is on the TRF, which is a military a division of the military that hunts down Transformers. All Transformers, because all Transformers are seen as just bad. And then I love that the face, because they say in the movie, like, Optimus Prime has been gone, we don't know if he's ever going to come back, blah, blah, blah. But the face of, like, that you see on, like, one of the buildings, I forgot what it says, but, like, to, like, hunt them down, is Optimus Prime. So you're using the one who you don't even know if they're going to come back. Does that even make sense? But so they're hunting on the Transformers. Lennox is actually like a double agent working for the military with the guy who was in Transformers 1, the heavier set like military dude. And so then we find out that Lennox, so he's a double agent, and it's actually to help out the Autobots and help out them in we don't even know what way, because because then they hear Megatron is talking to Barricade about the staff. So like they put this whole division together like years ago to hunt down the frickin' Transformers and but have Lennox be a double agent to help the Autobots, even though they had no idea about the staff because they just learned about it in the movie. So why was he a double agent then? Because that was his only role, to help the Autobots get the staff and stuff. So that doesn't make sense. But then they literally negotiate with Megatron, and they're like working with Megatron, but legitimately negotiating, like where there's humans like making phone calls and stuff. Megatron shows up, and then he's like, I want this person. And they're like, oh, we can't do that. We can't. Oh, you know what? Hold on, let me... Yep, okay, we're good. They raise the phone in the air. It's like, that was the worst acting I've ever seen, first of all. And that scene was like, Megatron could have been like, Did you not see? Well, they didn't see, but like, remember 5 minutes ago when I was angry at Barricade and I kept shooting fire out of my arm for no reason? I did it like 4 times, but there was no reason for me to shoot fire. That was just for like an effect. Remember that? So why don't I just do that to you and destroy all of you and just go break them all out on my own? But anyway, so then he releases clearly like the weakest Decepticons possible, because 3 out of the 5 get killed almost immediately, and so then they're working with Megatron and the Decepticons. Then they tell the Decepticons where Cade and the Autobots are hiding, which then causes them to have to leave the hideout and go to this little small town. And then what happens? Oh, and then like the TRF is going there too, like along with the Decepticons. And so then luckily, like, the Autobots, because they're much better fighters than Decepticons, and apparently Megatron, because Megatron gets beat by Hound, and I think it was Drift, the green Corvette, either that or Bumblebee. It's the explosions make it really hard to see exactly what's happening. But like, you know, they almost like 3 out of 5 die. Megatron gets beat really bad. Megatron's like, retreat! So then they all leave. But then I'm like, well, wait, why did they even send, like, what the hell kind of double agent are you? You're trying to help the Autobots by sending the Decepticons and these Transformer hunters to the hideout? Like, what? That's part of the plot. Like, that, I don't even get that part. And then, like you said, and then Megatron doesn't show back up until, like, the end of the movie. Like, what happened to him? So then that happens, and then after the town, that's when Cogsworth, the little leprechaun, whatever robot, then he ends up bringing them to England and blah, blah, blah. But, like, all of that took literally an hour just for us to get to that point. And then it takes, like, 40 more minutes for us to get to, like, oh, remember when we said the world's ending? Now the world's finally, like, ending. Like, in the movie, like, they had, like, 2 days. I literally felt like I was in the theater for that long. But I was actually hoping that there was a real planet coming to destroy ours while I was watching the movie.
Yeah, the plot was awful. I really, like, I know you said you felt like it. I think more than any other movie, yeah, I did get a sense that, like, something bad was coming. That, like, you could tell at the end was near. But I think that's just because they kept saying it. They kept, like, forcing it into our eardrums, so we knew. And then, you know, like, I don't know. I didn't know where the movie, like you said, you don't find out for an hour. I looked at my sister as well, and I said the words, where is this movie going? I had no idea what direction they were going in. I didn't know how they were going to end it. I figured Optimus would be in it a little bit more. I knew going in he wasn't going to be in it very much. Like, I saw a review where they said he wasn't in it much. But they did say he's at the end, which I figured, okay, that makes sense. But again, he was at the end for like 5 minutes. He wasn't even at the end. So, like, I don't know what I was expecting the ending to be, but just a weak story. The villain of it was basically Megatron for like 30 seconds, Cybertron planet coming at them, Quintessa kind of, but not really, because she's in like 3 scenes, and they don't, and they make her seem powerful and all that stuff, but she can't leave the ship. She can't really do anything except for mind control people and hold them into thin air.
Bumblebee kills her in one shot. Well, I shouldn't say kills her though. So actually, she definitely is more powerful because of what we see in like the mid credits.
Yeah, she is, but they didn't make her seem anything special. I feel like they wanted you to fear her in the movie because it's like, oh, she turned Optimus bad. But again, then you have the stupid gimmick of hearing. Now, it was cool hearing. I liked hearing Bumblebee's voice. I was like, that's kind of cool. And like, I liked the line with Optimus saying it to him. But like, as that being the reason that snaps Optimus out of it was the stupidest thing ever. And so then, like, is she really that powerful that her mind control spell can be wiped out by basically Optimus just like shook his head once and like he's fine? So like, absolute. And
then, like, you were telling me last night, like, how did Megatron even know about going to Quintessa and like working with her? Like, he never met her. Like, none of these Transformers ever met the creator before. But then the best part too. Oh yeah, how Megatron's still alive because he died at the end of 3. Well, actually, he died I think in 1. He didn't die in 2. He's like Starscream after losing like every limb. And then, but then in 3, he dies, and then in 4, the humans make Megatron, then he's Galvatron, but they use Megatron's mind from like a head that they found in the ocean. But now in 5, he's not Galvatron. He is like the actual Megatron from 3. I don't know. I don't get any of it. I mean, I guess you could say like, well, maybe barricade and then like put them back together or something. But like, it would be nice to like explain how he just keeps this. Like, he didn't even die. So here's the best part. Quintessa's still alive because at the end. I should say this. We find out that Earth is Unicron, and if you don't know what Unicron is, if you even are still watching the video if you don't know what Unicron is, that is a planet-sized transformer. It was never Earth. Now all of a sudden Unicron is Earth. And then they're like, this is why that the Transformers keep coming here. The staff and Earth is Unicron. I thought it was the Allspark in 1, the Matrix in 2, the space portals in 3. 4, there was no reason because I don't know. But now all of a sudden it was always because of the staff. Oh, of course. I knew that. But so Earth is actually a massive transformer, I guess. And so the actual plot was, so you have Unicron and you have Cybertron, and for some reason only one can survive, even though clearly before Cybertron was destroyed they both survived, like coherently and not near each other. So that doesn't make sense, but I mean, it's Transformers, nothing does. So the whole thing was that Quintessa wanted to basically take all the power away from Unicron to restore Cybertron. So that part I get. They should have just simplified that and like just said that. I know they did, but again, it took them like an hour and 20 minutes to say that part. Or even longer, actually, because they didn't find that point out till like later. But so that was the whole point. But what I don't understand, like, why... So in 3, Cybertron is coming to Earth because of the space portals. Like, it's actually, like, right there. But then, like, after the portals are destroyed and all that stuff, remember, like, when Cybertron was totally, like, destroyed? So, like, how is it in 5 in all these pieces? And why is Quintessa still, like, in Cybertron and none of the other Transformers, like if she's still there, like, why aren't they still there? Like I don't get, like, none of it makes sense. Why is there grass on a metal planet? Where's, like, all the buildings and stuff? Like, it seems like they had nothing to do because the planet seemed pretty empty to me. It's like, where did they live? Like we didn't see any of that. It was just literally like hexagons with grass. That's Cybertron. Oh, fun. Why do they want to go back? I don't understand what they're even fighting for. They should be like, how the hell can we leave? So like all that. I mean, I don't know. So anyway, so Quintessa, we thought, is killed by Bumblebee after one shot because then she like vaporizes. But then now she looks like a human, and scientists at the end were touching and like, you know, doing experiments on one of the horns from Unicron. And she says he doesn't like to be touched, and then they're like, who's he? And then she says Unicron. So clearly it is not just a planet. It clearly is a entity. Like, it is a actual being. So I assume in 6, because so Quintessa and Unicron are like sworn enemies. And I guess in the Transformers lore, forgetting the movies for a second, but in the true Transformers lore, Unicron is a bad guy. So that's actually interesting, because Quintessa is obviously not... She's good because she's doing what she has to do for her planet, but bad in the sense that she didn't really seem to be a good person at all. Or whatever, robot being. I don't know. I don't think she's actually a robot. But anyways, so she's actually not dead. Optimus kicks Megatron out of Cybertron. Like, he kicks him through the wall, and he just, like, falls. but he's still going to be alive because he literally can transform into a jet. All he did was he lost one arm. Yeah, like, seriously, like, why didn't he just fly back in? Good point. How stupid. So, like, basically all of the bad guys in this movie are still around, and none of the Autobots died, so I guess that's the only good news from the movie. None of the Autobots died. I thought Hound was going to die when Cybertron shot him. Cybertron. When Megatron shot him and there was, like, a big explosion. It's like, oh, that sucks. Nope, he was fine. I don't know why they left him alive, but he's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the movie is a total... the humans... That was just one answer. The humans pretty much were all terrible. Even Marky Mark's character kind of annoyed me. The girl character that starts with a V, she was kind of annoying too. I just don't get... Like, what was weird, like, script-wise, the little girl was a total waste. That was all just, like, feminist and, like, trying to, like, empower little girls. They don't go see these movies. Just so you know, they don't see these fucking movies. You know, the little boys in the beginning, that was stupid. A lot of the shit that the Transformers themselves did was stupid. They try to, like, humanize them. Don't, please. Just, can you give them action, something to do? That would be nice. But the script, like, made fun of itself a couple times. Like, at one point, the car, when Cogsworth and Anthony Hopkins' character, they're in, like, a chase, and they go to switch cars, and then Anthony Hopkins goes, why did you have to park so far away? And it's like, yeah, like, why did they have to? But, like, it's not, like, in a way, like, it's kind of stupid that you're making fun of your... It's like, you're not making fun of somebody else's movie. You're making fun of your own fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like, they parked, and they could have literally just drove up to the other car. So why didn't they? Like, just to add more time to the 2.5-hour movie? And they did that, like, there was other scenes, too, I can't even remember, where they joked about things, and it's like, you're making fun of yourself. Like, you're literally making fun of your own movie. Do you not even care? I mean, do you literally, like, does Michael Bay and them be like, it doesn't matter what we do because they're going to come see this movie and give us billions of dollars anyways? Actually, no, we're not, because, like I said earlier, lowest opening. So, I don't even think if you were going to be doing a 6, I don't even think they'd want you to be doing 6. They need a shake-up if they're going to continue. I mean, they have only 12 more movies they're going to make, including Bumblebee spinoff next June, Transformers 6, a Cybertron movie, and whoever the hell knows what else. I mean, I really, truly hope Michael Bay is finished. Because what's interesting, like, I don't know about you, but I'm, like, super... Like, I used to actually enjoy the Transformers movies. They weren't good, but I was younger, and it's like, yeah, this is cool.
Oh, yeah. When you're younger, they're fine, I think. But I don't even think this movie is fine if you're young. I don't even think this movie would be good.
I don't either, because there was, like, nothing in it for, like, even kids. Like I said to you last night, I thought that the ending, like, when the world's literally ending and there's all, then the military shooting and they're pinned down, which didn't make sense because, again, literally it's Megatron and his crew, which has 3 less, somehow now has the upper hand when it only took 2 Autobots to just take on and defeat, like, Megatron, causing a retreat. How they're pinned down, I don't know, because technically the good guys have more firepower. Doesn't matter, I guess. But, like, when it was, like, that part, like, the final fight, it didn't save the movie at all. But and I said it to you last night, where I was like, they didn't stop talking the whole movie. That was the only time that there was, like, no talking. And I think that's why I actually, like, finally got to, like, semi-enjoy, like, what was happening, like the level of what was happening. Because it kept crossing my mind, because I'm like, I know they're going to make more, but I know this is Marky Mark's last movie, so I'm like, they might actually kill him off. They might actually kill off Optimus or Bumblebee, because maybe that's why they're going with the Bumblebee spin-off route, to keep him alive, but dead. So I'm like, so people might actually die in this. So that I actually felt like, I don't know. I don't know if I was concerned, but I'm like I was actually watching. I'm like, oh shit, like this is getting kind of crazy right now. Yeah, I actually believe that something might actually happen, and I will say that was the only part of the movie, like that maybe lasts like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, like that fight. I will say I did enjoy that. I will actually admit I did enjoy that.
And of course, it ends in Transformers fashion. Just absolutely ends in the most abrupt way humanly possible.
Oh yeah, they end things so like abruptly. Like there's no, I just don't. I mean, Optimus Prime is literally like, he's like, say hello to my little friend Bumblebee, and then Bumblebee shows up behind her and blasts Quintessa. Then he's like, stings like a bee, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? That's how you just beat the villain of the movie? I mean, what? There was, speaking of lines, the best line that Alex and I keep laughing at is when the little girl, so they're in like England, Cade, Vanessa, or whatever the fuck her name is, I don't even care, Bumblebee, the old guy, they're all in England, and they leave, they left the little girl and all the other Autobots in wherever they were hiding out. I don't know if it was Texas or what. And then they make it to like the final battlefield or whatever, and then an alien ship shows up to pick up the other Autobots and the little girl or whatever. Then it goes to Stonehenge, and then when the little girl and Cade meet back up, like towards the end, he's like, "You got my message," and there was never a message sent in the movie. There was no message ever sent. So I don't even know who sent the ship. I don't know. I don't know what message. I don't know if it's a deleted scene. I don't understand. He was literally like, "You got my message." I was sitting there like, what message? I was just really confused. Oh God, what you got my? I'm gonna be using that for a while.
There's a lot of it that made absolutely no sense, and that is definitely a scene that made, I thought the same thing. It was like in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 when she said like more space battles and you catch it at the moment. It's exactly what this was. It's exactly like he said, "You got my message," and I was like, there's no way she got your freaking message, dude. There's no way.
Yeah, like what did he do? Like he just like yelled it like into the sky, like, "I need you to send the alien ship." The funny thing is the alien ship was never even mentioned. It just shows up. I don't even know who's flying it. Who's even flying?
Not to mention that they didn't need any of the Autobots that they brought with them. The only two that did anything was Optimus and Bumblebee, and they were already there. That nobody else did anything. They didn't help.
No, Hound did. Hound did, and so did...
Hound shot... No, they shot like a couple things. I wouldn't call that helping.
No, Hound and Drift... Oh, no, and Hot Rod actually did, because remember, Hot Rod did the freezing time type bubble, and then Hound shot the machine gun, and then all those hit Megatron, and then Hot Rod saved Vanessa and Cade when they were like gonna fall to their death. So, but like that was like a convenient point. Like okay, well we're gonna need them to be able to. Yeah, I mean, Optimus had fucking jetpacks on his back. You telling me he couldn't do that shit? He's only like 18 feet tall. He could have fucking reached him. I mean, none of the shit makes sense. None of it made sense. And then they all make it. And then here's the best part. I don't know if you caught this either. So when Cybertron or whatever comes down and crashes to Earth, and there's all this smoke, and you're like, oh shit, they're dead, but they're definitely not dead. They're we just saw them get saved, so they're not going to kill them. And then all of a sudden, so there's all this like smoke, and then all of a sudden, Optimus Prime comes out as a truck. Then here comes Bumblebee in the Camaro. But then I'm like, but wait, where's Hot Rod, Hound, Drift? Like, where's the other cars? I was like, wait, did they all die? But no, they didn't, because then they're at the end. I'm like, what happened? What? But the best part is, clearly driving, especially a Camaro, a Corvette, all that stuff, clearly the robots driving is much faster than them running. So then why is it when the other time that Cybertron was going to like crush them, they're all running? Like with the black kid, I don't even know his name. I don't even know if he got one, honestly. But the black dude, he's like running, and he's running at like the same pace as like Bumblebee and Optimus. And I'm thinking like, they're like 13 and 18 feet tall. One of their strides would have taken up like 100 of his. So how are they like running in slow motion? I mean, the movie really, when you really like actually watch and think, like use very simple like common sense and logic, like almost all of it doesn't make sense at all. Like the baby dinosaurs, why were they in it? Like they had no point at all. Yeah, actually, Grimlock was in it like just for like 2 scenes, the car eating scene, and he took down the TRF. But if they would have never sent the TRF, then they would have never needed Grimlock. He would never just like, wouldn't you think that bringing him along, seeing that he's like 30 feet tall, would have been pretty helpful? Because he could transform into a robot, which is taller than his T-Rex form. So, and then Hot Rod was in World War II with Bumblebee, but yet we never even met Hot Rod until this movie. But like Bumblebee was like in hiding for a long time, and then he's like calling Optimus and sending the signals for like Optimus, Ironhide, Jet. Like, why didn't he like just call up Hot Rod, be like, "Hey, Optimus is coming. Come on, we got to take on Megatron." Like, it just doesn't make. They ruined so many things that was already laid down, like from the other movies. Like, they just. It's unbelievable how it's almost like they don't care.
I do get the sense that it is like that. That they just. I don't really like to believe it when they say that like Michael Bay doesn't care. I feel like anybody who works on these movies would care. I feel like they do care, but he doesn't care that it's a Transformers movie. I think early on, he has a vision, his own vision for what Transformers is to him. Like this whole kind of dynamic that works with the humans and the robots, where you don't show the Transformers for 95% of it, right? That's like his vision. It's not that he doesn't care. It's that he made his own vision, and then he doesn't care about what you think of it or the larger audience thinks of it, and he's not going to change it for you. That's where I think it is. And in this movie, it couldn't have been more obvious that they don't care about the vision that Transformers could actually be. They just don't. You know, in a real Transformers movie, Optimus is the main character. And in a Michael Bay's Transformers movie, he's in it for 6 minutes as a cameo. It'd be like, hey, guess what? He's still alive. Like, there's an iconic voice behind him. We're going to use him for a couple lines, maybe. So, I don't like to say, like, he doesn't care, but I feel like he doesn't care about, like, he doesn't care about changing it. He's set in stone, and like you said, that's why they gotta get rid of him. And like you said, it's totally him. And the writing is awful, and he obviously doesn't. He helps with the writing, but he doesn't write the full thing. So obviously the writing needs to be blown up as well. But directing wise, like I said, this movie was the poorest made movie in any of them. I think whether or not the movie itself was the worst, I think just how it was edited and put together was just atrocious. Just one of the worst collections of scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And I don't know how that happens. With a movie that has this much budget and this much money going into it, and I don't know. So, let us know what you guys thought of Transformers 5. Hopefully nobody writes in these comments because none of you have seen the movie, and we hope you don't. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Don't watch Transformers 5. See you in the next video.